Hi, and welcome to Real Life with Jenny. My name's Jenny Senaparatna. Grab your favorite drink and a snack, and we will get started. Today, I am drinking berry treasured black tea. It's got pink peppercorns in it, so it's got a little bit of a bite. Yum. And I'm actually not having a snack today, so I hope you're eating enough for both of us today. Let's get real. When I started this podcast, I started because I was laid off from my job and really learned a valuable lesson. And if you'd like to go back to that, it's a really interesting journey that the Lord has taken me on. And so that's a great episode to go back to. It's episode number 2. So go back, listen to that. And I talk a lot about the Lord providing. And so I wanted to come on because something has happened this week that I was not able to let go, so I really wanted to share it with you. First of all, one of the things that happened was my beloved teapot died. I didn't know teapots could die. It broke. It's been pretty close to leaking for a little while. It's all charred up. The top broke off. It's kind of a mess. And I put that on Facebook just because, honestly, I had one of the worst days I've had in a long time. I was feeling very blue that day, and I was trying to find something maybe a little funny and super not negative, and that was the closest thing I could come to that day. So I put up that my teapot had died, and, it was a sad day for me. I didn't talk about the rest of my day because, honestly, I'd spent most of the day in tears, and I didn't really want to go into why I was in tears. And without a lot of thought, I put it up on Facebook. And we are now about a week out, and I have been blessed with 2 brand new teapots from friends and people that I treasure. It just happened that 2 came, and I'm super excited about both. I am now like, I'll make a cup of tea in this one, and I'll make a cup of... So now I'm drinking a little bit more than I maybe should. But it's a reminder that when I came onto this week. So last week, I got an email from my boss at the job I was at saying, I'd like to talk to you. And I was like, okay, great. Like, I kind of want to chat about some things I've got in the works, or I don't know how they phrased it, and I was like, okay, Lord, what's going on? What opportunity is coming my way? What do you want me to do? It is an automatic, in our lives, the Lord does not open a lot of doors. We are really good at running at doors and trying to kick them down, and they're cemented shut and we can't get through them. And so it was that moment that I spent this weekend walking and praying and going, Lord, what do I need to remember before I have this conversation with about the opportunity that may be coming my way? And I ended up talking to him, and I said no. And I'm going to tell you why I said no to the opportunity to kind of go back and do something at my former job and really take my former job back, because the person that had my job after me has now moved on to something greater, and I'm super excited for her. But I had to say no. And honestly, it should not have been as hard as it was for me. And that's why I've been pondering, is why was saying no to a job that I was replaced in difficult? And I will tell you the truth. It is because it is hard to remember who my provider is. Who is the person that is supplying my needs? Is it the job? Yes, technically, quote unquote, it's the job. But really, like I said back in that first podcast, my daughter turned to me one day and I said, you know what? The Lord is our provider. Jehovah Jireh is something that I've heard all of my life. And maybe for some of you, you're like, what did she just talk about? But it's in the Bible. It's called, it calls the Lord Jehovah Jireh. And it means the Lord is our provider. It's actually found back with Abraham. And Abraham had one son with Sarah. And it was a precious son. And it was the son that was supposed to be multiply to the grains of sand. and the stars, and he was supposed to be the future and the hope for Abraham's. Isaac was the key to the promise that God had given Abraham, that he would have generation after generation of family members, and that eventually part of his lineage would be Jesus. So Isaac was a very big deal. And there's a story that's kind of tucked away in the Old Testament that I find a lot of problems with because I'm the mom, not the dad. And I write about it in my book, so I don't want to talk a lot about it. But God tells Abraham to take Isaac, and he is going to sacrifice Isaac. And if you haven't read the story, it sounds a little gruesome. And honestly, if you have read the story, it is a little gruesome. And so Abraham does not take a lamb to sacrifice for their sins. He takes his son. And the Lord ends up bringing a lamb and supplying a lamb up there that he can sacrifice instead of Isaac. Now, why would this happen? I have always, as a kid, gone, that's a really strange story. And you know what? It is a little strange. But really, what I want to focus on in that is the Lord supplied. It's where Jehovah Jireh comes from. That Abraham blindly was faithful and was going to do what he was supposed to do, and the Lord supplied another answer. And so that is what I have been struggling with this week, is when you turn down an opportunity, which for me isn't really something I wanted to do. It's would distract me from what I'm doing right now. I may not be able to do my podcast. I'm homeschooling right now. I'm hoping to get back out on the road once things open up a little bit more and start preaching again. And so I have a lot of goals and dreams. And sometimes some things come and they will distract you from that goal. I've talked so many times about being on the ladder that you want to be on. And sometimes you're at the top of the ladder in a situation that you no longer want to be on. You're like, you know what? I really no longer want to be a restaurant person. I no longer want to be a cook or a chef. I really want to be a construction worker, which maybe is a good idea. Anyway, but sometimes you just need a change. And for me, this was kind of a jar to have another, come back. You could do your job again. Now, it was only part of my job and part of the job that I was pretty happy to give up. But it was still do I take this secure, although it's really not secure because they did lay me off last year, so they could lay me off again this year. Is it really secure? But do you take this job that is money that you can see, or do you trust that the Lord is going to provide the lamb? Is he going to be Jehovah Jireh? Is he going to provide the needs that we have as a family? And sometimes in life we think the Lord provides our rent or food on the table, but the Lord reminded me that he cares enough that he planted it on two people's hearts. In fact, another person offered to, and I love them. And I got 2 teapots. That shows me that the Lord cares about my really non-important needs. He provided something that was really not that important, except I do use it every single day. So maybe it was more important than I'm admitting, but that he cared. He cared more about my car, and he cared more about my, the clothes and the food and really supplying our basic needs, but he went above and beyond, and he supplied something that was a treasure to me. And I think right now, as we're living in this season of isolation, and really we can be very depressed, that we need to remember that the Lord is our Jehovah Jireh. He is our provider. He sees you. He knows where you are. He knows your needs. And beyond your needs, he knows your wishes. And we're in the season of Christmas right now. And so often we, as parents or guardians, we have our kids write Christmas letters to Santa about their Christmas wishes. And I hope your kids are not listening right now, but we all know that a lot of times we do it so we can find out what they want for Christmas. Although I'm sure Santa is very faithful to bring what the kids want. Anyway, did I cover that enough for you? Okay. But the Lord is okay with us saying, Lord, I need a teapot. And honestly, I didn't do that. I didn't ask the Lord for a teapot. I wasn't like I was just like, okay, I guess this is the end of this season. How am I going to get another one? The Lord just saw my need, and he had already had a plan on how to replace that for me. And it blows me away that Abraham was faithful, and the Lord already had that lamb ready to go. The Lord didn't just poof it there. It was already ready. It already had journeyed its way to that spot. The Lord is our provider. So no matter what is happening in life right now, you may need to make a wish list. I think it's okay to go to the Lord and say, Lord, it's really important for you to do A, B, and C. Lord, we need financial help. Lord, I need a healing in my marriage. Lord, I am struggling with infertility, and I need you to stand beside me and give me hope. Lord, we need peace in our house because everyone is fighting and they are going to drive me crazy. There's so many things that we can go to the Lord and ask for. And you know what? He's Jehovah Jireh. He will provide. It is not the people around you. It is the Lord that provides. And so really, that's all I have to say today. It's a really, really short podcast because it's kind of a crazy time. But I want you to remember that the day that you open up presents, that you know that the Lord provided those for you. Because he cares enough about the simple teapots in your life. And you do not need to go down a path that you feel uncomfortable with to have the Lord supply. I did not need to entertain the offer because the Lord is my provider. And he will figure out, I will have to work for it, but he will figure out how we're going to be able to stay financially afloat without something that is going to deter me from what God's calling me from. He is my provider, and he is your provider for your healing, your hope, and your peace this season. I hope you all have a wonderful week. You can find me at Real Life with Jenny on Instagram and on Facebook. And you can also find me on christconnection.cc/Jen. I'm actually going to be putting up some new pictures soon, so you'll be able to see some new pictures. Right now, they're pictures that were in my kitchen and all kinds of fun things. I had a wonderful friend take some really lovely photos, and I'm excited to share those with you. So you can find those on Instagram, on Facebook with Real Life with Jenny, and on christconnection.cc. You all have a blessed day, and remember, Jehovah Jireh, the Lord is your provider.